Good.
Mhm.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of eBay Business Owners. Today, we're going to switch up the format a little bit. I'm going to invite you guys into one of my mastermind calls, and we have a special guest. So once a week, at least, I'm going to do this where we bring in a full-time reseller, and then my group will ask questions. We'll do Q&A, and then just go over a few specific questions that I want to ask resellers so we can really get into it and work together as a team, create a true co-working environment. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us where you live, and before we get into reselling, tell us a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, we're Ryan and Lindsay. We go by Rinzy together. We live in Maine, right outside Portland, and we're full-time resellers.
Yeah, I've been full-time for about 14 months, and we're excited to take part.
I love it. I love the nickname. And you guys, do you have a catchy tagline yet?
Well, actually, Rinzy came about because when we first started reselling, we called ourselves 25 Footwear. Every pair we had was $25. And people kept saying, like, what's your names again? And a couple people actually slipped and said Rinzy because it's Ryan and Lindsay. And then we realized we were capping ourselves by calling ourselves 25 Footwear. So we rebranded as Rinzy. And now that opens us up to a lot of other things. No catchy tagline.
Yeah.
In the beginning it was we deliver where you want to build the relationships that you want. But now that we do a lot of stuff shipping online, it's just Rinzy.
That's awesome. So, and then you guys share your information online pretty regularly on Instagram. Is there anywhere else where you guys share your information? Do you guys have a YouTube channel or anything?
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel right now, and we'll give you the link so you can put it below.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook as Rinzy as well, but Instagram and YouTube are probably the main places where we put out a lot of content. We're starting to put out a lot more on YouTube now, but mainly Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. So this shows a little bit about nuts and bolts, so hopefully it's not too boring for the audience, but I'm going to ask you guys some pretty tough questions. The first one is, you're two people, right? So do you guys have a specific income goal that you're going for, and then do you want it to be your primary source of income?
Go ahead.
Yes. We don't have really I guess we have a more of a goal for what we want to do, and that's get into the real estate world, in particular retail arbitrage. So we know that we want to be at a point financially where we can start siphoning money into that. So I think it's probably around like $10,000 profit per month to be able to set aside just into that.
And with our current game plan, that looks like it's going to be about 500 pairs if at the exact profit per pair that we're getting. So we're both looking at what it would take to move 500 pairs a month or find inventory that gives us a little bit more profit. So it obviously means less pairs per month that we'll have to move.
It's pretty much doubling what we're doing now.
You're building a machine that can sell 500 shoes per month.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Okay, so and that was going to be my next question, which is where you guys are at now. So if you're going to try to double your operations, now we're going to talk about basically some restraints to see if that's going to be where we can figure out how to get that to that stage. So the first thing is space. Do you guys have the space to double up your inventory?
The easy answer is yes. We used to work out of a storage unit, and we grew out of that. We were lucky enough to move our physical location apartment-wise, and now we have this big space that's got this giant loft. We currently have between 220 and 230 pairs on hand, and with a sell-through rate between 55 and 60%, we could double and triple we're looking around at all the shelves we have right now. We could double or even triple the amount of inventory that we have on hand in order to hit those goals. So the answer is yes, we've got enough space to grow.
Okay, that's like extremely high sell-through rate. Typically, from what I've seen, it's like 5 or 10%. So we'll get into a few things I think that you guys are doing that's incredible in just a second. But next question is capital. Are you guys restricted for buying twice as many pairs?
The answer is yes, in terms of being restricted. Like we don't have, if we wanted to triple our inventory, we don't have the funds to go get it right now.
Mhm.
We've managed to build from a $0 buying budget up to, we spend anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a week on inventory
Okay.
consistently. But in order to grow, we would have to, really figure that out. What we've done is instead of sourcing these monster trips, we've trickled in mini sourcing trips in between these monster sourcing trips in order to do that. But like you said, our sell-through rate is very good and very high, but we've hit this plateau where we take out the money that we need for our immediate bills and then pour everything back in, but it's the same amount each month. So we got to figure out how to come out of that plateau.
Gotcha. And then I from that math, you're saying like at least $20 a pair, right? Profit.
Yeah, that's our bare minimum. The only time we've ever gone below is if someone buys multiple pairs, 5, 6, 7 pairs at a time.
Okay. And then which is great because that's just one listing, right? And then what is the maximum amount you will spend to make 20?
That's a great question. Our average price per pair is around, I think it's in between $25 and $35. We very, very rarely spend over $40 to make the 20. And if we do hit that $40 mark, we usually think we can hit 80 and above. And like I said, the only reason we go below doing that is if they buy multiple pairs.
Yeah, we run it right around a 45 to 50% profit margin. So
I have almost the identical numbers on the sell-through rate. According to that, that's like 2 months sell-through, basically. Do you guys feel like that's how you look at sold, etc.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, basically, and we just started looking at these numbers. We looked at this month's numbers before the month ended, and we thought it was pretty high as well. But it also is a big red flag. It's if we're selling through that amount but not bringing in more, we're going to just plateau or sell through, especially heading into quarter 4.
Gotcha. So now there are 5 processes that I try to go over with people, and we've already gone over a few of them. But how do you feel your prep is? So you go get stuff, you come home. From that part to being listed, do you feel like there are any bottlenecks? And that would be like getting the item prepared or listing, item optimization. What do you think?
We have a pretty solid system for processing where we'll go on these trips. We'll bring in, anywhere from 50 to 100 pairs. We bring them into our apartment. We'll kind of work together, get them all onto our spreadsheet, and then he'll be photographing and I'll be listing. And so it's a pretty easy, simple process. Obviously, if we bring in an extra 100 pairs, then that extends it. But yeah, it's pretty streamlined.
We're lucky enough to have 2 of us, and we've done 25,000 plus photographs of shoes. So we're real good about the setup now. It used to take a lot longer. It used to take us a couple days just to get through, 50 pairs. But we're real good about getting everything listed right away when we get back from our trips. And we've got that system down. We also have built the systems cross-listing, so we might use similar descriptions and change things up just a little bit. So it's pretty efficient right now.
Do you do batching in a sense that do you do like certain amount of photographs per thing, certain amount into the spreadsheet at once, or do you like complete one before moving to the next area?
So it's a great question. What we do, again, since there's 2 of us, is I will run down the description, the price, any descriptive things that we need for our personal spreadsheet, and Lindsay's typing it in so we can go through it really quick, even if we have 100 plus pairs. So a lot of the time
in tandem,
we do that.
Like in tandem?
In tandem before we start photographing. Okay. The big thing for us is we set up our sourcing trips so that we have 15, 20 minutes in between each stop. And we actually do that in between each stop so that when we get home, all the stuff's listed on our spreadsheet and we just can start into photography.
That's brilliant. Is it done like in the car?
Yeah, we do it right in the car. It's one of those mentally exhausting things because not only are we mentally into the sourcing, but in between each stops, and we alternate, like she'll drive, I'll punch in the 20 pairs we just got from that spot, then I'll drive, she'll punch in the spot. And by the time we get home and we're exhausted, we've already got all of our stuff listed on our spreadsheet. We just have to start photographing.
This is so beautiful. Because this is what I'm thinking. Like eventually one day, maybe people are bringing stuff to you, right? So if you have us inbound, it comes in this way so that it can go into our thing. That's amazing. Okay, then any issues with photography?
It's over time. No, again, in the beginning, of course there was. We weren't sure. We were messing up with aspect ratio. You know, now we use square. Right. The square part of the photos there, it's pretty proficient because there's two of us. That's the key. It would be a lot slower if it was just one of us. We also don't do load it up to the Google Drive. We take, like, for example, we both have an iPhone 7 Plus. We use our phones to take all the photography. So I'll take the photos, and we usually do 6 to 7 shots. I'll airdrop them to her. She'll list, and as she's listing on all the different platforms, I'll be taking the photos for the next shoot. When she's done, I'm sending the next photos, and so they're going up. It sends this steady stream of listings that are going up, and we just motor through and get them all done.
And so straight mobile. You're not listing from desktop?
Yeah, straight mobile. We barely even use our desktop. We're using our phone to be on this right now because the desktop wasn't working.
That's incredible. My because right now I'm transitioning from all mobile. I have both. I have my lister because I separated all my processes into different prices. He can list 100% from mobile if he wants to. He prefers that. I prefer listing on desktop now. So it's interesting because you can just get it done either way. You don't even need a computer. You guys had a post talking about how you could do it entirely from your phone.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that we've noticed, we like you, we're always trying to create these efficiencies in what we do. So we talked about how we build efficiency while we're sourcing in our listing. A lot of the times now we're buying shoes that we've already bought before. Yep. So we already have the pictures on our phone. We can list while we're on the road. So when we get home, there's less photos to take.
That's so awesome. I love it. Next is time. Do you have the time required to do twice as much stuff?
It's funny because a lot of people ask us this, and they ask about time management, and we try to document as much as we can. We actually have a lot of extra time right now, to the point where we sometimes feel like we're not working hard enough. We take the dog for a walk like 6 times a day. Yep. We have this extra time. We do most of our sourcing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes into Sunday. Most of the time Sunday is, time off and we're recharging, but we have a lot of extra time and we've utilized that to kind of recharge. But now that we want to ramp up for Q4, we're seeing how can we either pour more content out to the community or source in different places on the days that we don't usually do that.
Is there time built in? Is there time built in where Lindsay has girlfriends and you hang out with guys and you're not with each other? Because there's such a common question. You want to kill each other at the end of the day.
Not yet.
It's funny because the answer is yes. She spends time.
Yes, we have time. Not yes, we want to kill each
other. Oh yeah, we don't want to kill each other. Sometimes we argue. Sometimes there is things that we disagree on. That's just the reality. She spends time with her girlfriends. I play hockey. I try to play hockey once a week with the boys. But here's the thing: we love doing this. So those hard times, those times where we're arguing, where we may not agree, we take a deep breath, we take the dog for another walk, and then we say, okay, let's narrow down a strategy that makes sense for both of us. And I think the constant communication, the understanding that it's two different minds coming together, but saying, hey, we already know what our end goal is, and we may not agree of exactly how we're going to get there, but the time off with the girls, me playing some hockey, or just a walk with a dog allows us to regroup and head forward in a positive direction rather than literally ripping our heads off.
I really like this real estate goal because if you can essentially just concentrate, I'm in the same position to the point where you can build up a real estate portfolio that covers your bills, then theoretically you could save 100% of your reselling income, right? And then I was listening to, I don't necessarily agree with Grant Cardone, but I was listening to him saying, like, what if you saved 400 grand a year instead of 40 grand a year, which is what 2 working professionals usually save, which is, it's okay. But if you could save 100% of your paycheck, that's insane. So you guys are well on your way. I love that. Okay, now here's the big one. I think is totally foreign to a lot of resellers, and I'll explain. Yesterday evening, I gave a presentation to how to cross list to the oldest eBay group ever formed. Okay, so this group has been meeting with eBay, other fellow eBayers for 20 years. It's 20 years old. They've been meeting, talking about e-commerce. When I was speaking about how to cross this on different platforms, there was not a single question. That's how over their head this concept was. No cross-listing had ever crossed their mind. They didn't get it. I have the same look when people are explaining like Fortnite and all these, like when kids are talking about their lives. I don't even have a question to ask because it's so far above. I have no idea what they're talking about, right? That whole concept of what kids do now, I have no idea what they're doing. So like that was the same look. So now let's talk about maybe some different platforms you sell on. How are you able to sell on more than one platform?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is we test a lot of different marketplaces. Again, there's 2 of us, so it's less mental real estate to test multiple places. We always want people to respect how much they can handle. We can handle a lot because we test it. So we're selling on Poshmark, we're selling on Mercari, we're selling on a little bit on eBay. We're selling on StockX, Vinted, LetGo, OfferUp. We grew our business on Facebook Marketplace. And the big thing for us is when we're testing a new marketplace is it quick? Is it really quick for us to be able to post? Now, of course, in the beginning, it's a little bit more difficult because you're not sure it's different listing, it's different language sometimes. Poshmark for me in the very beginning was super difficult because I didn't put enough time into understanding. Lindsay showed me, and after 3 months, we were off and running. We create efficiencies when we're going from one platform to the other. For example, Poshmark into Mercari, into LetGo, into OfferUp, we may use the same exact description, and then those platforms give you the sections to select. It literally within 3 minutes we can be cross-listing on 7+ different platforms. And then the key is you have to have a system when the pair of shoes sells to take them down off all those other ones, and we've established that in our game plan. That is so awesome. And as you guys saw on Instagram, I'm trying to make that automated. Like I was looking at we love that video, and I'm super excited to dive into that. When I make the macro, I'll share the instructions with you guys. And Keyboard Maestro just basically records the movements of your computer so it can redo it. And also, I don't know how to use IFFT or whatever that program is, but you can have it be triggered by the sold email. So what I'd like it to do is item sells, it finds out how much it's sold for in the email, puts that in the spreadsheet, then prints the label. Oh, actually, it writes what the item code is on the label and prints it out, and then ends it on the other platforms. So that would mean you just like, we sold, go get it. Everything else is done for you. In theory, that could be done. And then on Instagram, somebody said they paid a company $12,000 to program that in their company. They're that type of service. That's insane. That's such a good idea, and proprietary would be the way to go, because that to the masses is multi-million-dollar efficiency. But you also have the reason, when I went to eBay Open, the reason why people have to do this is because everyone's business is different. It would be very difficult to make this work, because everyone, for different categories, for different platforms. That's why when you go to eBay Open and you ask big sellers what they use, they say nothing that eBay makes, nothing that Poshmark makes, because it's not customized to them. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. That's so cool. Okay. And then it's difficult. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the last one was just do you bookkeeping and customer service, like after the sale, is there any hiccups or concerns you guys have?
No, we pride ourselves. Let's talk about customer service first. Like we said, we built our business on Facebook Marketplace in an environment where we were delivering shoes within 50 miles of where we live.
That's amazing.
We did zero shipping for the first 800 pairs we sold. We hand delivered, and customer service was our biggest thing. There would be days where we would drive 49 miles. And our big thing was you can try on the shoes before you buy them. And there'd be people who it just didn't fit. And we would say, no worries, we'll find another pair. And most people won't do that because they just drove 49 miles. But what would happen, of course, was in the future, we'd find a pair. They would tell every single person in their community about what we have going on. And that non-sale 49-mile drive would turn into 26 sales within the next couple of weeks. We transferred that customer service when we started shipping, handwritten notes, very clear, positive communication through every interaction in an environment where, for example, on Poshmark, there's a lot of people that will lowball. On Mercari, there's a lot of people that will lowball. We always respond in a positive manner. Hey, thank you for your offer, even if it was $5. That's too low for us. We can come down a little bit, but in the future, we might have something closer to your price range. And that has allowed us to move a lot more shoes and creates a bigger word of mouth.
That you're much kinder than me.
Talking about well, then talking about accounting, we use QuickBooks that is obviously attached to our phone, that attaches to all the mileage, all the interactions, all the purchases, then goes to our TurboTax. We've got Excel sheets that log absolutely everything. We're very literally down to each and every single sale. We know how many pennies that we make, and we obviously know within a couple days if something's working and if it's not, and then we get rid of stuff that's not working. So it's important for us. We consider ourselves a business to really have that dialed in, both customer service and accounting. If you don't, you really are unsure about why it's not working or why it is working, and you're just basically a hobbyist.
One thought on that is eBay is switching to a new payment processor, Adyen. They're going to try to bring it in-house, and it's already live. It's out there. There's some people and some listings where you purchase something and there's no PayPal. It goes straight from you don't leave eBay. You don't have to log into anything else. I tried it yesterday. Yesterday I bought something and it stored the same credit card I used to do PayPal fees. It was a one-click purchase, which is not a thing. That's
awesome.
been 5-6 clicks to buy something on eBay. It was much easier. This is theoretical, but the thing that they're talking about is they could somehow consolidate all the eBay fees into one line per item. Because right now, your listing fee, your final value fee, your promoted listing fee, and your store fee are all separate, and it's the only platform that does that. Every other, maybe Amazon, but I think that it's not having 4 or 5 lines sometimes per item is insane. So, do you guys estimate eBay?
Wait, what was the question? Do
you estimate
your
eBay? How do you get your eBay fees to reconcile?
Oh. Yeah, for every reason that you just said, we do estimate it. We try to shoot a little bit higher than what it is, so that we're in the green. So it's estimation for sure.
But that's the exact reason why we don't put a lot of emphasis on eBay. We did in the beginning, and then exactly what you're saying, it was just for us, our mental real estate is everything, and it was too much for us, and it wasn't that we wanted to deal with. So we went on to Poshmark and Mercari just for our mental.
I know. So it's almost like, this is obviously an unpopular opinion, but I would rather they change it, because this is why it's cheaper. I didn't fully understand why it's cheaper. So as of right now, when they release it, there will be no 30-cent fee that PayPal charges, because they're not PayPal anymore. So on 250 sales, that's already $80 for you guys. That's nice, right? So you don't have to pay the 30 cent extra. And they're trying to get a lower rate, like 2.8. instead of 2.9, etc. But that does add up. That's cheaper. But I was like, it doesn't need to be cheaper. If it was 15%, obviously I would get stabbed by eBay people. And I didn't have to deal with those fees. It's worth it to me.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have to
Same.
do any accounting. If you took the money first, then it would just be easy.
And for all the reasons that you're saying, the average, the more consistent buyer and the more consistent seller are on some of these other platforms because they either don't understand or don't have the mental real estate to figure all of that out. So if eBay is heading that way, it is a positive direction. And like you said, to save $80 is a lot of money for us.
It is.
That's 4 pairs of shoes that we can flip into more. And so we respect that. But like Lindsay said, we respect our mental real estate a little bit more. So we're excited to hear about eBay making these changes.
And they're not changing until 2021 and as completely. And for me, that means I don't want to try it until 3 months after that. I just want to just not change because constantly
you gotta work out the game.
Yeah. So 2020 is the estimated, but they're saying 2021 is like done. So, but that's a while. So for me, I'd rather just say, okay, it's around 13 to 15% for now, and then just figure it out at the end. I wish it was easier, but it's fuzzy.
Yeah. We use 15% as well. We use 15% bare minimum is what we put in.
Awesome. I love this. This is like, I feel like no one else in the world knows what we're talking about, and it just feels nice. So, okay, we have now.
It's good to connect with you. We've watched a lot of your stuff, and we're grateful to connect with you. We have a similar mindset as well. So
now I want to ask you guys for a few hurdles or things, challenges. Like, what is your biggest thing that you think prevents you from doubling up?
Yeah, the answer, we have the time. It's building in the capital, because our big thing is we want to consistently be sourcing each and every week. So if we've got the $2,000 or $3,000, how do we get to spending $8,000 per week? We know we can build a sourcing trip. We've looked into buying pallets. Our big thing that's working for us, it's a little more labor-esque, but we started traveling up and down the East Coast because we have the time. We love seeing and being able to pick the pair in hand, because some of the stuff that's new in the outlets, some of the stuff it's got blemishes, it's not resellable, but a lot of it is. And a lot of the times you're getting deals in person that you can't get on pallets, you can't get on these other things. So our struggle right now is bringing in more inventory, and maybe we're against, getting a loan. We're against all this other stuff. We want to build organically because that's the easiest way to pass that on to someone else. We don't want someone leapfrogging the experience, getting a $10,000 loan and then making all the mistakes with $10,000. We'd rather them make the mistake when they spend $50 at the thrift store, but then they can use that experience to build bigger. So our biggest hurdle right now is literally building that capital with such a high sell-through rate so that we can grow and not diminish our inventory. That's the biggest one right now.
Let's see. That is, hypothetically, if you had 1,000 pairs in stock and you sold half each month, right? And you spent a maximum of $40 a pair, you would need the 40 grand in the bucket for safely, right? And then you need that plus whatever your inventory is to make sure you could keep buying it and churning it through. And so this is, I love that you're saying you don't, because this is how I see it. Credit cards, bank loans, extra help, those are all multipliers. So if you if you are profitable and you add those, you should be more profitable. But if you don't know your numbers, you're gonna really don't know your numbers once things start getting super, super big. So I think this is cool because when people ask me what they should start with first, I always say like clarity. Clarity is better than size. If you get your business now, you'll be fine later. Yeah.
You're exactly right. It's building the mental clarity. It's understanding, hey, I sold 5 pairs this month. This is why they sold, and this is what it takes to sell 10 pairs, and then building up to that. And respecting where you are in that game plan and not trying to leapfrog into a place where you won't have the clarity and there's a lot of money involved.
We have a couple of questions from the chat. And this goes back to one of my pillars of a successful reselling business, which is, are there 3 categories that you guys like to sell in? And that can be within the same niche of shoes. There are different kinds of shoes that you guys look at.
That's a great question. So our biggest niche obviously is shoes. Where we source in New England and then now heading down the East Coast, there's a lot more inventory available in like running shoes. We're starting to get into some lifestyle stuff, but because we're in Maine and a lot of the outlets and places that we source are more heavier on running shoes, we source more running shoes. So that would be the majority of what we do. We're starting to get into, like I said, the lifestyle stuff, the Air Force Ones, the Jordans, mainstream stuff, not like the one-off drops and all that kind of stuff. We sell a little bit more women's running shoes if you want to get it even more into a smaller niche than men's, and that's just because we source more women's.
And these are all new. We do dabble a little bit in the used, but we really only focus on like used boots and stuff. Since we're in Maine, we'll do bean boots, Columbia, Patagonia, things like that. North Face, Timberland, yeah. And then we branched, a couple of months ago, because we had got, shoes going, new shoes going, we were profiting steady over $100 a day. We started adding in an apparel category. And that was all used, $1 a piece in order to try to make, $15 plus.
Yeah, so and the big thing for us is when we're launching a new category or testing is for a couple different reasons. Can we be profitable consistently? Can we source it consistently? And then the biggest question is, do we even like doing it? For example, we're becoming very profitable. We've got a 77% profit margin on our apparel line. We profited a little over $700 this month, but it's not as enjoyable to source it. It's not as enjoyable to photograph it. And so then our mental real estate comes into play, and it's less about money and more about the time that we're spending doing it. Yes, it takes away from the shoes a little bit, but we are able to sacrifice a little bit of that time because our profits are consistent over the course of time. And now we're realizing either we have to bring someone in that can handle the sourcing, the photographing, and the listing, and then we can just maintain it from afar and fund it, or we're just going to focus more on scaling the shoes. And we're in that phase right now, period.
How much do you guys like shoes?
We love it. We love the shoes. We're not, we don't get high on our own supply type of thing. Like we never buy ourselves shoes. We still only have 2 or 3 pairs a piece. There's never a pair that we're going to buy that we can't flip, period. And I think that's what people get into, buying stuff. Maybe they buy it for too much. We literally could sell every single pair of shoes that we have in here and make a profit, including the ones that we wear.
Love it. I love it so much. That's also part of this upcycling, recycling, circular fashion trend that's happening. I just read a ThreadUp article, which I keep referencing, which is threadup.com/resale. And I didn't know this. Half of items that are sold that are pre-owned are clothing. Half. And then another 30% is used electronics. So we're talking about used electronics and used shoes is 80% of the pre-owned market. And for me, I actually consider store returns or outlet stuff as pre-owned. For me, because that's how Amazon defines it. So I'm like, that's how it is, because it's not being purchased and being sold for the first time. And so I love it. I love that we're in this essentially, this stuff goes into the landfill when it doesn't sell or recycled.
It's crazy. And We love that you consider that pre-owned, because what you're doing is you're under promising and then over delivering. Someone reads pre-owned, then they get it and they're like, whoa, this is crazy. It's like it just came off the shelf, which it literally did. And we love that concept of under promising, over delivering, and it shows in the reviews that come in.
And your returns go down. You get that ping, and I think that with Poshmark and eBay especially, that positive feedback or the love note really makes you feel like it's so substantial compared to other things.
It goes such a long way. It's true.
Let's see. So now, if you guys in the chat have any questions, this is my normal mastermind group. We meet every day. So Monday through Friday in the mornings, my group meets. If you guys are interested in joining, or you have any questions, email me at chris@dailyrefinement.com. Where can people reach out to you guys?
The best place is through Instagram, to be honest. Rinzy Now, RNZYNOW. Just look us up on Instagram. We're constantly, because it's accessible right through the phone, answering questions through DMs, answering questions through the comments. We love doing that. So the best way is through Instagram. We just launched our YouTube channel, and we're going to be putting a lot of how-tos and haul videos specifically. But Instagram's the best place.
One more thought that Ashley just put in the chat, which is accurate. A lot of stuff is produced for the outlet and sold for the first time. And it usually will be, as an example, Banana Republic that's made for the outlet will have 3 dots under the brand to let people know that it's not a, as high of quality or different. And also, if you guys know, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, they also have private label. It's like a private label within the brand. It's a lower quality that while you're there, you might as well get it. And the money maker for this is kind of like interesting, but the money maker for all these big companies is stuff that's $20 or less. And resellers don't like to hear that because it's sad. We want really high ASP, but of course they understand that they have the good stuff for people to come into the store. And what you guys are essentially doing is you're building a mini Marshalls. That's by diversifying.
We want to take that. Yeah, exactly. We want to take that a little step further and collaborate with these big box, Marshalls, Burlington, TJ Maxx, and connect their inventory. I know they want traffic in the door, but when it gets down to when they're dropping in their clearance, connect that inventory to a whole network of resellers that can siphon through it. Because at the end of the day, if they start pricing their stuff down, when you hit the red and yellow tickets, if we can connect all of that inventory and have it be sold completely, they'll keep, bringing it in. So we're using their buying power to connect it to the community. And we've got some big plans to launch some stuff in January that with respect to that.
You want to talk about that program? Because there are some people who have messaged me about that. Maybe you guys can give us an idea of what you hope that to be.
Yeah, the biggest struggle that we have seen is sourcing. I mean, obviously, whether it's research, whether it's, I don't know if this stuff's going to sell, whether it's, I don't have the time to go, I'm a father of 3 and I love it and I've got the mind for this business, but I can't bring my 3 kids on a sourcing trip from New Jersey to Maine. So what we want to do is work with the new to middle range resellers, and with respect to shoes, starting off with shoes, because that's what we know, really change the shoe sourcing game. And so we're calling it The Menu by Rinzy, and we're going to give people access to our inventory at the price that we get it for. So it's as if they are taking the trip every single week up and down the East Coast. There's going to be some restrictions on how much stuff they can get. We're going to provide free shipping. It's literally going to be like you can get the pair of shoes for $18 that you can resell for $60. And so it can give people those wins and build up their buying budget.
That's so awesome. And that's like the purpose of my group, because I love beginners, but I would prefer intermediate or higher. And in this group specifically, once people have all the stuff we talked about, space, capital, how to list things, you know your numbers. At that stage, it really just comes into what are we buying? Let's try to stay on trend. And it turns into a purchasing conversation, because, you know, maybe we all sell tractors if that's what's up, right? We'll just switch to
Yeah.
whatever, because we already know how to do it.
Yep, 100%. And we respect the knowledge, and we're going to continue to pour that into people because knowledge is everywhere. But then when it comes down to, hey, I've got all this knowledge, but I can't go to the outlet. I can't go. I just don't I don't have the time. And it's either an excuse or there's literal real life stuff going on. And we want to help navigate that gap. We're going to start doing it in January.
That's super awesome. One more resource I want to offer to you guys, because I have a small group of people. If you guys have any, I use them as a sounding board, right? So if I have a question or somebody has a question in the group, they can bring it up and then you get instantly X amount of answers. So like on an Instagram story, I can put out a question and get roughly 4,000 to 5,000 impressions and questions coming in. I can post a question like I did yesterday, which was, if I put $10,000 into your business, where would you use it? And then people can now, I think like 300 people saved it, so that they can now see if those ideas are applicable to their strategy or whatever. So if you guys have any ideas that you want to test, like with the menu, you can say, okay, we want 9 features for the menu. What do you think? What do you like? What do you dislike? I go over it with the group all the time. Like, what's the best way for me to be useful? Do you want process? Do you want, do literally you not need me for anything except for go buy this for this price and don't talk to me. Just text me what to buy and then go away. So I don't know. So it depends on what, you know, people are looking for. So yeah, I want to offer that to you guys. If you guys have any
super
questions.
Smart too. We really appreciate that, and we're very humbled. We know we don't know all the answers, and we always respect the market. And so we're going to be asking a ton of questions before we actually launch in January. So that makes a lot of sense.
So that's the end of this portion of the call. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you want to hang out, you can and see what happens. Normally, this is about normally a 2-hour call in the mornings. So I'd like to just hop in and ask the other people some questions. You guys can hang out or you can take off, but you can see how this normally operates each day. Well, let's go with George. George, good morning. Hopefully you can chat right now, but I just wanted to know, what are you up to today? What are you working on?
Actually headed to the thrift store to, one of the colors are 99 cents, and I always like to see what those things are. So
awesome.
That's what I'm doing right now, driving.
George, are you making a list of stuff that you like to buy?
You know, I am testing lots of different things, from tools to shoes to clothing to blazers. In something that they said that the mental, I forget the catchphrase they used, but about the mental effort that something might require.
Right.
The shoes are so far definitely my favorite. So I'm testing.
I tried to tell people that people don't have feet anymore and shoes were flooded to get people to stop selling shoes, but it's just not true. It's so big. It's like not stop. There are people who sell hundreds of pairs a day. So I mean, it's so big. You can't even. It's a great place to start. So
to be honest, I love picking the used ones.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Say I love picking the used ones and actually reconditioning them. I love that process.
Yes.
And I know that's a scalable issue though, but I love it.
You know, house flippers have been starting to reach out to me saying that, because they're at a different stage of life, right? They're way ahead of me. And they're saying, we buy homes not based on appreciation. We buy homes based on what the value we can do in fixing it up. And then that's the value we base our purchase on. And then if it appreciates, great, that's gravy on top. And George, when you're talking about tools or electronics that can be fixed or repaired, plus the value of potentially it being rare, that you're in a similar boat. But if you enjoy repairing things or fixing up shoes, that's huge. Yep.
Cool. Thanks.
So I also recommend, George, you carry a little notebook with you so you can jot this stuff down, because it's super awesome. Hold on one second. All right, guys, I am going to turn this off because the rest of my mastermind is private. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by. If you like it, like and subscribe. Take care.